Hi, I'm Lisa Ball-Lechgar, the Deputy Director of Tashkeel. Most of the world's cultural institutions have been closed indefinitely, with exhibitions, events and performances either cancelled or postponed. In response, there has been intensive efforts to migrate essential activities with minimal resources to digital platforms and to provide support and additional services to the creative community at this time. That's why Tashkeel has released the first edition of its COVID-19 resource for artists and designers. This is a living document which we'll be updating on a regular basis, featuring links on health and well-being, as well as resources for artists and designers here in the UAE to stay active and inspired. We're drawing information from every corner of cyberspace, but with a particular focus on information relevant to the UAE and wider region. I'm joined by Tima Ouzden, Studio and Engagement Manager at Tashkeel. Hi, Tima.
Hi, Lisa.
I guess I'll start with a rather beefy question, one that we're all tackling with at the moment, the post-COVID world. What advantages and challenges do you think the creative community, particularly here in the UAE, will encounter after the restrictions have been lifted?
I think I will start with challenges. I think the effects of the pandemic, they're still unfolding and will be unfolding for a month or maybe years, which obviously will have economic, social and psychological effects on the creative community or the world at large. So I think one of the biggest challenges would be once maybe we can go back to our spaces and start working, is getting the audiences back in. They might be very cautious, understandably so, going to large gatherings, whether it's an exhibition or a talk or a panel discussion. And that also, as a ripple effect, will affect institutions and artists. What kind of work they can make or they can't make, it will affect them economically as well. So in terms of maybe positive, I think difficult times always push us to become more creative and also maybe scale back and trim what's not necessary, go back to the basis of why we're doing what we're doing. So it's, in that sense, I feel like it's a good litmus test or introspection time to rethink how we do things and find new ways of doing them. What about you? What do you think? What will be the most challenging thing?
I think the arts and design sector, the creative and cultural industries, are built on relationships, on human relationships, and it's that sense of sensory deprivation, of that being deprived of engaging on a human level. Yes, the digital platforms are giving us new and exciting ways to interact, but there's nothing that can compensate looking into a person's eyes in front of you. And I think the psychological impact on that is going to bring pluses and benefits. We're not going to go back to normal. It's going to be a new normality. And I think it's going to be tough in the beginning, just as it was tough with the initial shutdown. But every cloud has a silver lining. So I'm optimistic, like you say, that it will bring new opportunities. We've launched this first edition of the COVID-19 resource for artists and designers. We decided to do that for various reasons. What was your thinking behind the document? Why do you think we did this?
Well, there is, as ever, so much information out there, and let's be honest, everyone everywhere is confused, not sure where to turn, how to mobilize, how to do things. So it's a great way of streamlining information for our audiences particularly, and putting it all together and offering guidance. There is also, and I've seen it a lot actually online, which I think for me has been maybe the most positive outcome of what's happening, if we can call it that, is this mutual care and sharing resources, however small or big they are, you know, whether it's someone buying an artwork to support an artist, or you know, sharing Google Docs documents with resources, whether it's in UAE or, you know, I've come across really randomly around this resource kit in US. So I sent it to my friends to US. So I feel like that's really important, and feels like everyone is in it together and taking care of each other and thinking of each other and wanting to help one another.
Yeah, it's maintaining that sense of community in a period of what is great alienation, really, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
We will be releasing a mental health guide for creatives by the psychologist Rima Bani Abbasi today. So please, that's another PDF document that you can download from our website. And sort of core links and advice is also listed in our COVID-19 resource pack as well. What are some of the listings that have grabbed your attention? I mean, I know that you helped, your input was integral to this resource. Which ones sort of grab your attention now we're looking back at that document?
I think probably or Jamil's micro funds for artists, because that's probably the most essential right now for artists whose livelihood depends on, you know, making work or finishing work, is to have a little bit of a cushion to carry them through. So I think that's a fantastic initiative, and I think that's probably one of the highlights for me. And I know they have three different dates on rolling basis. So if anyone's watching hasn't applied, please apply. All the information is on their website. What about you,
Yeah.
Lisa?
The NAT critique call for creative professionals that are finding it hard, economically hard in these times, gathering their information together to pass it on to institutions like Tashkeel, like Art Jamil, is going to be, you know, incredibly useful, I think. I loved Artsy's compilation of free art history courses online as well. But something I really want to sort of doff my cap to Art Jamil. I think they've done a fantastic job reacting quickly and effectively to this issue that we're facing. And because of them and other institutions that have, you know, gathered the creative community here in the UAE together, that's led to the Ministry of Culture and Knowledge Development releasing their survey. It's just closed, but they're going to be measuring the impact on the creative community on COVID-19, and then developing policies and resources to address that. So I think, you know, one thing has led to another, and that's been really, really interesting to see that momentum grow through the institutional action.
I also wanted to, I almost forgot to mention it, the Gulf Photo Plus Artist Relief Sale, which is another fantastic initiative, and please have a look at it as well if you haven't yet. There's some really beautiful work, and it's a great cause to help artists in a real practical way.
Yeah, absolutely. We've been using a lot of digital conferencing tools, and there's so many out there: Slack, Bottom, Zoom. I mean, it really is quite confusing. For me, I think Zoom, the platform that we're using at the moment, has been really, really useful, actually. Internally, we're using Microsoft Teams, but on a public domain, I think Zoom has been great. Have you got any other tips or thoughts around video conferencing?
I've been using Zoom a lot, more than ever. I actually never used it before. Never ever. I was relying on Bottom and Totok and Instagram. Yeah, but Zoom has been like the mainstay, I would say, and, you know, Microsoft Teams as well.
2 years ago, I was a Facebook girl. That was it. That was it, Facebook. And then
Change.
I joined Tashkeel and I had to join Instagram. And that for me was like a mind-boggling achievement. And so over the last few weeks to get familiar with all these new platforms has required a lot of patience, but it's well worth it, I think, to stay in touch with people.
But that's human nature. We just learn to adapt, which is when we have to, which is great. Resilient.
A lot of institutions here in the UAE have been mobilizing themselves online over the last few weeks. We've mentioned Art Jameel, of course, and their fantastic coronavirus, a guide for courageous kids, and their Jadaf Aloud online festival is continuing today and tomorrow. Are there other digital events that you found quite interesting as you've been surfing the net?
For me, it would be Sharjah Art Foundation's film streaming online. So I've been watching their films, which has been really great because they're films you know, if you miss them in an exhibition or at a biennial, or, you know, they're made by artists, so they're not easily found online. So that's been really, really amazing for me. And the other ones, or my mind is blanking. I made a note of it. Where did I write it?
I think
when I remember, yes, there was another one.
The Ball-Lechgar, I don't know if you've been going online and watching the Ball-Lechgar Foundation talks that Sultan Saud al-Qasimi's been running, but he's had some pretty impressive people on Zoom. Her Excellency Noura Al-Kabi, who was the first, and that was fantastic to see her with over 150, I think, members of the creative community online with her. The Bahraini artist Abdul Rahim Sharif, and of course the wonderful, the legendary Samia Halabi. These are artists that, you know, to spend an hour in conversation with them, even though remotely, I think Sultan's been doing a great job there. And just a big heads up to New York University, Abu Dhabi, alongside their Art Center Reconnect concerts and performances. This Wednesday, they will be holding a talk in light of COVID-19, what looks different now. So if you haven't already registered on the NYU Abu Dhabi Gallery website, please do it today. Don't miss that talk. It's going to be great.
I just learned a couple of days ago that Atasi Foundation is now on Google Arts and Culture, which is really, really fantastic. It really made my day. So I think if we're talking regionally as well, I think that's has been one of my highlights, probably seeing this amazing foundation in a partner up with this arts and culture domain.
Absolutely. And a couple of other people we should give a shout out to. Tashkeel exhibitor Ishraq Busidi. Ishraq is doing a fantastic job. Yes, woo! She's gone viral, which is absolutely fantastic, sharing the human experience of exploring Dubai, social identity and coronavirus, all through her wonderful graphic works. So get her online, Ishraq Busidi. She's releasing new work practically every day. The woman is the power machine, I tell you.
That's amazing.
What about worldwide? What about outside sort of the UAE and Middle East? Is there anything that's grabbed your attention?
Ooh, I mean, I think probably every museum or big gallery has gone online. I think the highlight for me, though, has been seeing Pina Bausch's one of her films being released on their website. So, and I'm waiting for the other ones to come, because that's kind of a lifelong dream to see all the ballets that she's choreographed. So I think that has been my biggest highlights so far. And as I said, I think it's more people sharing their resources and all these like small grassroots initiatives that they just came about. I think that has been a big highlight for me.
Yeah, it's not just the institutional initiatives, it's the individuals who are coming through. And it really has opened up my eyes. A lot of the time, you know, we're head down, we're focused on our priorities, and it's difficult to find time to do the research, even from an arts management perspective. But I think this time has given us that opportunity to sort of look out through our screens into the global creative community and see the connections that are being made. I mean, the Social Distancing Festival, for example, they are matching multidisciplinary practitioners from all over the world. So a dancer in Tanzania, Tadia Lawi, is working with theatre practitioners in Canada, for example, on a new project called Body versus Dance. And there's people, an artist in Adelaide is working with a musician in New York City. So, you know, I think we've got there's a lot to be hopeful for in terms of creation once we come through this. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, everybody out there, COVID-19 resource for artists and designers is available as a PDF download from tashkeel.org. Please click online and download it today. Follow us on our social media, where we will be announcing regular updates to that document. As we get the information, we'll feed it through. So there you go, Tashkeel's providing you a little one-stop shop for researching, for applying, for experiences online, and we hope that you find it useful. Okay, from Tima and myself and the whole team at Tashkeel, stay at home, stay safe, and keep creating. Take care.
Goodbye.